All right, welcome everybody to our Tuesday night team training call. I'm so grateful to have you all jumping on, and I am really excited about tonight. If you couldn't tell from the post on our team page, we have two special guests all the way from America joining us tonight. Before we get into the call, I want to do just a few announcements. So first off, huge congratulations to everybody for the month of May. It was another phenomenal month. We had 127 new customers and 18 new distributors join us, and we want to give them all a big warm welcome. We're so excited to have you join us on this incredible journey. So onwards to June, we've already started out strong. I'm really excited to see what's coming because we know there's some incredible events happening at the end of the month, which I'll talk about in a little bit as well. But I wanted to do a special mention to our new pace setters for the month of May. We had two new Pro 2 pace setters, Samantha Miller and Esther Armada. So well done to you guys. Examples to all of us. That's just incredible work. And then we also have two new Pace Setter Pro 3s as well. Robin Harris, yay, and Ned Wayne. So Ned Wayne he had enrolled beginning of the month. He hit Pace Setter Pro 2 and onwards to Pace Setter Pro 3 as well. So just amazing, 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 and congratulations. Now, just to mention, this is the last month for our Pace Setter promotion. There is talk of it continuing, but that's not confirmed to me yet, so take it as our last month. Let's really go hard for it. I'm not going to get into the details of it, but it's all on our team page. It's on the, the official pages, and go to any of us or your enrollers for extra information on it. And now a big drum. I wish I had a drum here, because drum roll, we've got a really big announcement that some of you have already heard already, I'm sure. But we have a new qualifier for the Pro 5 Summit, Jillian Joyce, who I know she's on here. Well done, Jillian. I am so excited for you. I feel funny calling you Jillian. I always call you Jill. So well done, Jill. I mean, this is a huge, huge achievement. Unbelievable. And you are so deserving, Jill. She is our Capricorn Coast and Rockhampton leader, and she is incredible. She is a servant leader. She leads with her heart. I'm going to get all teary. Absolutely love Jill. She teaches me so much all the time. I admire you so much, Jill. I'm so proud of your work, and I can't talk anymore else. I'm just going to cry. But I cannot wait for you to experience this. You are going to love it. And our corporate team is just going to love you. They already know you are just, it's going to be an amazing experience, and we are all so proud of you. There are going to be announcements soon on the qualifiers as well for the Success Conference, which is coming up in July at Manly Beach. So stay tuned for that. All right, so we know this is the month we've all been waiting for. Dr. Gordon is coming across. Now, let me tell you guys, I've been doing this business for 4 years, and I have been waiting and waiting and waiting for this man to come over here. I love listening to him present. He is so humble. He's so gentle. He's such a wealth of knowledge. And I honestly believe anybody that you get to these meetings, that he will be that validation for them that is going to get them to enroll and cross that line. So invite get everybody that you can to hear him. And I promise you, when you get there, you're going to go, I wish I had this person, and this person. You're going to want to have more people there. So just take advantage of this opportunity. It is amazing. Get registered. There's a special that was just announced. Nellie put it up on our team page from now until Saturday. Is that right? From now until Saturday, it's only $15 to get registered. So that's amazing. So get on and get registered if you haven't already. All details for the events are on Big Blue Calendar, and you can also go to the LifeVantage Australia events Facebook page as well. All right, so moving on, without any more announcements, we're going to get into our call. I'm so excited for it, as I said. I'm so grateful for these two special guests for taking the time out of their early morning to dedicate some time to us to share their knowledge. And the first speaker that we're going to have on tonight is, as you see her there, Pro 7 Linda McCormick, all the way from Canton, Ohio, who lives on a beautiful lake there. She was a missionary and a teacher for 20 years in Asia. Linda, every time I hear that, I'm just amazed. 20 years in Asia. That's just amazing. She's had an interest in natural health for years. And for 14 years, she's had a reflexologist and a colon hydrotherapist business. She's a mom of 2 sons, and she's been blessed with 3 grandchildren. And she's been with LifeVantage for 6.5 years. And I tell you what, she is a huge blessing to all of us Aussies. She's always so eager and willing to help and support us at any time that we need. She has a huge heart. She has been a rock for me multiple times. I just love and I adore her so much. And what's with all the tears tonight? So Linda, without me talking anymore, once again, I welcome you on to our team call tonight, and thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, can you hear me okay? Are we on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, yeah, pass the tissues. Okay. This is really a very special time, and I just thank you, Carrie. I mean, your passion, your heart. We've traveled this road now how many years together, and the ups and the downs, and just to be where we are, to see the growth in you personally and all of your leaders. I mean, the joy of being with several of you in the Bahamas, that was great. And just seeing all that Australia is doing overall, just daily blesses me. So believe me, I don't think this is a huge sacrifice to get up at 5 a.m. to be on your call. It's a lot easier than getting on an airplane and going like, 20 hours? So I'll get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. But the majority of the time today, I really want to share with you about my sponsor, Michael Vahila, who you see there. And before I do that, again, congrats to all of you for the strong month you've had. You inspire Michael and I and others here. Amy Hillis, of course, is a huge part of this whole chain. But congrats to all of you for the hard run that you're doing, all the rank advancement pace setters. And yes, I concur that what Carrie is saying, your regret of not having more people to hear Dr. Gordon will be high unless you really get out there and invite. So yes, that's a great opportunity to be looking forward to. So let me just say this. Michael and I met when I had my wellness center many years ago in another city, not far from here, where we both live in Canton, Ohio. And we had the pleasure of just exchanging a lot of ideas. But absolutely the biggest one that he impacted my world with is when one day when I was at a very low place and I went to him for acupuncture, because Michael blew me away in his acupuncture treatment. I always thought, having been in Asia, that when I came back to the US, I'd have to go to a Chinese person to get an excellent acupuncture treatment. It just kind of, needles and Chinese faces kind of go together in my mind. And I was so impressed with Michael's gentle spirit, his wealth of knowledge, and how every session became an educational opportunity. Michael is not just an acupuncturist, but he's a well-respected massage therapist teaching locally at one of our state colleges. And many of my clients come from him, and we pass clients back and forth, actually, and they just have a wealth of respect for knowledge, for Michael. So it wasn't a hard sell that Michael gave me when I went to him. And he saw how low I was. He had a way of testing me and my meridians and see where I was balanced or not. And he just kind of calmly said, I've been researching this product. And he held up this little blue bottle and he said, you might want to try this. I didn't see an ABC video. It was based on the respect that I have for Michael and the fact that he is a researcher. He will call himself a open-minded skeptic. And that's why he's going to be a huge validation on this call and all those who will listen. Because with his background in medical studies, he's a licensed medical professional with his acupuncture and his massage and his open mind to continually be growing in what's out there. So that was the basis, not the ABC actually, and then I saw that later, that I said, this has to be a good thing because Michael is a quality person, a quality professional. So I just want to say that not just the product, but how it turned my world upside down as I started using it, had my results in 3 days, the energy kicked in for me, the well-being and just the vitality that I had been losing with the crisis I was going through. But that he gave me the chance to dig a well years before I would be thirsty. Because for the last 6.5 years, with all of you to thank for being my strong leg and how appreciative I am of all your work, I didn't understand or know that my little wellness business here would be shut down as it was a couple of months ago. Most of you know that I was given a cease and desist order, and that hasn't been lifted yet. I'll have a hearing a month from yesterday, actually. And I've been having to work with all the rules and regulations here in Ohio. I've been investigated. But the fact is, I wasn't dependent on that income alone. So as a natural health professional, I just want to say to all of us, not if you're just in the health world, but anywhere, we have no guarantees. And to have multiple streams of income is a wise thing to do in any country and in any vocation. So had I not dug in and run with this, I would be without income, these last 2 months. And so thank you, Lord. Thank you, Michael. And to have him back, and he'll tell his story why he got back into circulation now with our amazing LifeVantage family. I'm just so, so deeply grateful because he brings so much to the table, as you're going to see in a minute. So thank you all. Thank you, Carrie, for inviting us to be on today. And all of you, I know you're going to listen with open hearts, take notes. Michael is an extraordinary friend and person and professional. So take it away, Michael. Thanks for getting up and looking so good at this hour in the morning.
Well, thank you for that incredibly generous and kind introduction, Linda. I hope I can live up to it. I feel like I'm on the wrong end of this call in that you in Australia inspire me and are the people who made me take another look at this business from the standpoint of, I'll just start very briefly with a little background on me. The way I got into health and wellness, when I was 18 years old, I was a music student in New York City, and I wandered into something called a health food store in 1972. And so ever since then, about 45 years ago, I've been taking natural supplements and researching this. And even though my first career as a musician for about 25 years, my secondary interest was always health and wellness. And I liked music very much, and I had chronic musculoskeletal pain, and I was never really a healthy person, even though I was a vegetarian and I did yoga and meditated. So I was doing all the things that people commonly do today, but I was doing them 45 years ago, yet I still had a lot of health issues. And so at a certain point, after about 25 years in music, I started really just getting bored with what I was doing. And one of my teachers in New York called it divine discontent. And I found that at that point, I decided to pursue my passion for health and wellness. And I became a licensed massage therapist, and then about 10 years later, an acupuncturist. And is my volume up okay? Can you hear me, Linda? Okay, all right. And so I've been in that field for about 20 years now. And so it's been an interesting journey. I continue to study many different nutritional products and therapies. Even in my clinical practice now, I do use about 10 different professional product lines, but none of them have the research that Protandim and LifeVantage have. So I find that very interesting that all these professional companies, they have very good products, and they're much more specific. So for example, if someone has Lyme disease, I would have a special product for that. Or if somebody had something very specific like shingles, I would have a special product for that. So I think of LifeVantage as a good foundation level supplement program for people. And what I see in a lot of my healthcare professional colleagues is they'll often jump right to treating symptoms that are very specific, and that never made sense to me. What makes more sense is put in a strong foundation, like with Protandim, Nerf1, Nerf2, ProBio, the Omega Plus, and then see if there's any symptoms left after the foundation is in. So anyhow, that's how I kind of ended up researching LifeVantage. And it was almost 7 years ago. I joined in August of 7 years ago. And Linda and I both at that time were very active in getting people signed up, and we did meetings and so on. And let's just gently say that from my personal life, my spouse was not particularly supportive of me doing this business. So in the interest of my marriage at that time, I really walked away from LifeVantage and did not pursue it. Now, I regret that in many ways because Linda kept going, and I noticed over the years what happened with that. But it really wasn't a good thing for me to jump back in at that time. And unfortunately, my marriage ended about 1.5 years ago. And so the first year of that going on, I did not get re-engaged with LifeVantage because I was still just trying to get through survival mode and see how different my life would be. And then at the beginning of this year, I took a look and said, okay, I survived that. Let's take a look at LifeVantage again. And this is where I feel like I'm on the wrong side of this call. I looked at what was going on and I said, Linda, what happened in these 5 years that I was gone? So I really find this team, especially in Australia, I don't know what's in your water or your food chain down there that makes you so amazing at what you do with LifeVantage. So you really inspired me to get back into this business. So I thank you so much for that. In some ways, you proved to me that network marketing is real. For many people, they get in network marketing, they work a few months, results don't come quickly enough for them, and so then they stop. Or not everybody has the same experience that Linda had of within 3 days of feeling a big change in their health. And we know it's happening. We have the research that says it's happening, but not everybody feels that. So it's also very common for people to get inspired early on. And quite frankly, I'm very guilty of this. I'm great at a strong start, but sometimes maintaining over the long haul is not easy for me. But it's easier when you see that other people have done it. And I look at what Linda has done and all of you in Australia, and I think, you're just the most remarkable people I've ever seen. Your consistency, your commitment. So, just congratulations for what you guys do down there. So I'm back in the process of being more active in introducing my patients to it, to talking to people that are not my patients about the business. And I really thought, I'm a little intimidated because I'm thinking, what on earth can I teach these people? I don't know that you need to be taught anything. Whatever you're doing, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep doing that, whatever that is. But I will give you a few thoughts that I have that are maybe a little different than you hear from many of the people that are involved in LifeVantage. As Linda said, I'm an open-minded skeptic. So my mantra is question everything. And I would encourage you to do that, including and especially what I say. So I think that having, sometimes we hear people that are very high up in an organization say things, and we take them as truth. And they may be, but I always, when I hear something, especially something that sounds very catchy, I say, gee, that's very catchy. I wonder if that's true. So an example of that, you may have heard people say it's easier to give birth than to raise the dead with regards to your downline or getting people in the business. And I think, boy, what a catchy phrase. And I wonder if that's true. And for me, it's not true. In any profession, one of the things that consultants would say if you were struggling, say if I were struggling my acupuncture business, the first thing they would say is, well, you have a gold mine in your inactive files. These are people you already have a relationship with, who trusted you, and for whatever reason, they stopped coming in regularly. Maybe their issue's been solved, but people are often in different stages of life, And I'm a great example of being raised from the dead with regards to LifeVantage business. So if somebody would not have, I mean, I called myself, but let's say somebody that you sponsored a year or 2 or 3 ago has gone through a situation like mine where their life circumstances have changed, and maybe they've completely forgotten about it. So I personally did that with my own files, and I went back through and I called some people and sent some emails and say, hey, I see you haven't been taking Protandim for a while. Are you aware of all the new research on it? And you really might want to take another look at it. So I reactivated 3 or 4, just they were preferred customers, but they were people who just for whatever reason got off the product, gave them new information that allowed them to make a new decision to re-encourage them to get back on. And then another one of the things I realized is important to do is every once in a while just check in with those people every 2 or 3 or 4 months, not bombard them with emails, but very gently, especially when you know they're just a preferred customer, just give them that little easy push. Hey, did you see this study on skin cancer? Hey, in fact, Linda, did you know there's a new study that just came out a day or 2 ago on musculoskeletal? Yeah, so there's a 24th study that I just read. And so that's the kind of thing I would do, is just re-encourage people to look at new research. And it's like, oh yeah, that's why I'm taking this. So that may be true. Maybe you don't have any people in your inactive files that would be reactivated, but it would be easy enough to look through and just give them a quick phone call or an email. And so that's the kind of thing that I think is useful, especially I just heard another one the other day and I can't remember what it was, but I went, wow, what a really nice turn of the phrase, another one of those fancy phrases that are inspiring on some level. And then I always say, gee, I wonder if that's actually true. So you might want to consider using that as your follow-up to anything that you hear, including, again, what I say. I would also like to recommend a book that I think you would find fascinating. It's called Tipping Point by a man named Malcolm Gladwell. If you're not familiar with Malcolm, you can go into YouTube and just type in Malcolm Gladwell Tipping Point. And you might even see the whole book on YouTube, or you can just get a feel for some of his speeches. But one of the things he talks about is how little it takes for trends to happen, and how a few key people can make all the difference in the world. We think of major trends in, say, some of the examples he uses are things like how cocaine addiction is really concentrated in certain areas. And it's not that it's a whole lot of people that are at the core of that. It's a very small number of factors that contribute to that. And he talks about that with fashion trends. And so what you'll find is, I think that network marketing as a whole and LifeVantage specifically are really poised at that what's called tipping point. You know, we've talked about being at this point where momentum will start to carry the day with LifeVantage. And I think reading Malcolm Gladwell will give you a different perspective on that. And that's the other thing I do, in addition to certainly consuming all the LifeVantage information, I try to read very broadly. Malcolm Gladwell's written a couple other really interesting books. One's called David and Goliath, which will give you perspective without any other chatter from, say, products or anything, on how our businesses can change and grow, and what advantages we might have, and what disadvantages might in fact be advantages. So that's one thought. And so in terms of daily personal development, I have the feeling that all of you are doing this. I know Linda does it, where we're always listening to people like Eric Worre, people that inspire us. You have a huge team on these calls. I wish I could be as inspiring as many of those people. I apologize, especially at this hour of the morning, for not being my normal perky self. But those are just some thoughts. And then, Linda, do you know, was our webinar that we did sent over to Australia? Have you seen the webinar that Linda and I did Do you know, Carrie, have you seen that?
I don't know.
I've got it in an email. Yeah. Yeah. I can put it, I can post it on our team page. I've shared it with a few who I thought it would benefit.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll put
Okay.
it on our team page.
Okay. Well, the only reason I mention that is because I think there are some little nuggets of the subtleties of some of the products that I don't often hear. Things like Wellmune, for example. You know, we know Protandim has a boatload of studies. And that's great. And that's the only reason I'm in this business, by the way, is if it wasn't for all that research, it's just another product company like all the other products I have on my shelf. But so we know the research for Protandim is amazing. But a lot of people don't realize that in the ProBio, for example, Wellmune has 9 studies on PubMed, and it's been shown to improve upper respiratory health. It's been shown to improve mood, and it's been shown to improve overall stamina. And this was a study done on, I believe it was on marathon runners. So this was on healthy people that it improved those markers for them. And then also the other thing that's unique about Wellmune, because I often have my patients say, oh, I take a probiotic and I take the refrigerated one. And refrigerated probiotics, there may be some logic to them, but I notice my stomach is not refrigerated. So when you take a probiotic, it's how much of it actually gets through to the gut is what's important, not just how many 50 billion is in the bottle. And in Wellmune and the ProBio, it has that it's not even enteric coated, it's a time release coating that allows it to be distributed evenly through the gut. And that's also patented. So Wellmune is patented, and so is the delivery system. And I think this is really an underappreciated product. People think, oh, it's just another probiotic. And it's not. It's very, very unique. So, and also just my experience of it, it feels very different. I've been taking probiotics for probably 25 years, and it feels very different than any probiotic I've felt. And I noticed this year I had some very bad seasonal allergies in the past few years, and they were incredibly mild this year. And ProBio is probably the main difference in my life. So some of the research that we talk about that on that particular webinar, I don't see talked about commonly. And I use in my own presentations what I might call the research greatest hits. And so I'll share them with you if somebody says, well, what makes this product different? So you can tell somebody that it reduces oxidative stress 40% in 30 days, but I find many people don't really understand what oxidative stress is. So now you have to explain oxidative stress, and that's all well and good. You can do that. But sometimes as a way, before I send the webinar that Linda and I did, I'll say, well, it's really interesting that Louisiana State University found that it reduced the incidence of skin cancer by 33%. So a third decrease in the potential for getting skin cancer, and tumors by 57%. So that's pretty impressive. And that was done at an independent university and funded by the Skin Cancer Foundation. So something that's so separate from our company that is very few companies have that kind of independent research. And then there was a study from the American Heart Association done at Ohio State University that showed it protected the heart when the heart was under what we might just simplify and say a high blood pressure situation where you get heart damage over time. And it prevented that. And again, we're not treating any diseases. We're not preventing any diseases. We can't legally say that. But we can say, gee, look at this research that an independent university did. And you can take that into consideration. And then the other one was that there's a drug company that has a multiple sclerosis drug called Tecfidera, and it's a $50,000 a year drug, and it's a NRF2 activator. So they tested it against other NRF2 activators, including Protandim. And at the end of the study, the drug company's own researchers said that Protandim was the most potent NRF2 activator and therefore most useful for therapeutic effect. So when a drug company sponsors a study and at the end of the day says that Protandim is more potent than their drug. Now, Protandim is not intended to treat multiple sclerosis. It's just more potent than a drug that is intended to treat multiple sclerosis. And the company doesn't say that. The drug company that makes the competing product says that. I've never seen anything like that in my entire life with regards to nutritional supplements. So to me, those are the greatest hits. There are other ones that may be more specific, and you can familiarize yourself with those. So those are some of the things I thought would be useful for sharing. I wish I could think of something more inspiring for you. I'm preaching to the choir here. You probably already know all these things. But if you didn't, hopefully those will be useful tidbits for you. So I guess we should just open it up for questions at this point, because that's all my brain has at 5:30 in the morning in Ohio.
Well, thank you, Michael. I'll just jump in quick and say, so you got to see some of the little tidbits that Michael's so good at pulling out of things and retaining and remembering and sharing in such a big way. I also just want to quickly say that because some of you were so enjoying the fact that my metabolic age was low. Remember, I did this scan in Canada, and I bought this device, and my metabolic age is still, I tested myself the other day, and it was 29. Again, it was gone up into the 30s, and again, I'm almost 62. And I think the Nerf 1 is really kicking in something too to help that number. Michael came over once, a couple of months ago, I think it was, and he got on that scale. And Michael, you're almost, is it 64 you're coming up to?
I'll be 64 this year, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And he tested like 20 plus years younger in his metabolic age. So again, he's a product of the product and his lifestyle of research and finding the best products, of which you heard. He feels that our company has them. So just want to say he's a good example of what he's sharing with us. So any questions, guys?
Thank you. I just want to jump in. Thank you so much. My computer started to freeze because the battery was running low right when you finished. And I was panicking because I couldn't figure out where the cord wasn't plugged in, but we got it saved. So thank you so much, Michael. I learned so many new things, especially about the probiotic. I know Janelle's a wealth of information on the products, and I know she's spoken about it before, but that just, I only started it just recently, and I'm really excited to see how my body goes being on the probiotic. I learned so much new stuff about that tonight, and all your tips. Really appreciate everything that you shared with us tonight. And I wanted to open it up to everybody. I can unmute you guys. And while we have Linda and Michael on here, if anybody has any questions about the products, and let me unmute you guys all. Any information on the products or the business, I mean, any of the proven plan steps, anything, just ask away.
I have a question.
Awesome.
You knew I would. Okay, so I know ProBio is not officially here yet, but I've got a burning question that there's some conflicting answers being given. So Linda or Michael, whoever's going to fit this answer category best. With the probiotic, it's got yeast, an element of yeast in that product. And so for somebody who has a true blood-tested yeast allergy, how do they go with that probio? Is that going to be a conflict for them?
I don't know for sure, but it's a beta-glucan. Any kind of yeast typically within a nutritional product is not the same as the type of yeast that would be problematic for people. So I guess in the interest of caution, I would maybe just tell that person to start with one a day and see how it feels. That's probably a better question for Dr. Natalie Chevreau, who's the Chief Science Officer, but because she would know more specifically. I personally don't think it would be an issue. And here's another important point, because often in network marketing companies, we are all so incredibly enthusiastic about the products that sometimes people do have a blind spot with regards to the possibility that someone could actually not respond well to one of the products. That's a real possibility. I have a patient, for example, who is severely allergic to thistles. So she cannot take Protandim because she cannot take milk thistle. And so you just have to say, oh, well, then you can't take this. And if a person's willing to test it, that's fine. And I will often say that very gently. Well, you may or may not respond badly to this, but I understand your concern because you've had bad experience in the past. So I would not try to force that on someone. Or if somebody does have some type of negative response or a detox and cleansing response that surprises them, maybe they get diarrhea, then I would say, well, I understand you'd want to stop taking it based on that. Why don't you stop, wait till it clears up, and then try a half a tablet every other day? And I have to do that myself sometimes with products where I'm very sensitive. And I also simultaneously respect and understand that a person may not be willing to go through that process just to take the product. So allow people to experiment, respect their choice not to do something, because if nothing else, you'll have a healthy relationship with them, and then they may try some other product. For example, they may love the skincare product. Do you guys have that down there at this point?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So if you don't, strong arm them into trying to say you must take all these other products or this product is good and it's you're the problem, not the product, that doesn't build a good relationship. Say, oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, some people know that they're sensitive to an ingredient, just like some people are allergic to strawberries or some people are allergic to peanuts. Doesn't mean strawberries and peanuts are bad. It just means not people shouldn't take them. So other products within the product line that they can take. And so you open the door to them to take those other products because you were so soft and gentle about how you handled the product that they were sensitive to.
Cool.
Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Anybody else have any questions?
When will they be available in Australia, like the probiotic one and others?
Are there any updates from the council ladies? I know they've been working on it through the TGA for a while now. Any updates, ladies?
They're working hard on it, but honestly, there's 2 products that are currently in, or paperwork has been submitted, but it is a long, lengthy process because the company prides itself on doing it the correct way. So we would love to see something by the end of the year, but more likely it would be early next year. And we can't guarantee which one that would be. It's kind of so that's where we sit. So at the moment we've got the Protandim and the True Science, and we just keep rocking along with those.
Yeah, and when both Linda and I joined almost 7 years ago, Protandim was the only product we had, and many of the people that are very high up in the company got there with a single product. Mm-hmm. So, and I think it's in some ways better when products are introduced individually because it's easier for someone to say, oh, here's a new product that I can try and add to my regimen. With some companies in America, for example, there are product companies, and I know some of them that I have, they have 300 and 400 products. So it's a little hard to wrap your head around a company that has that many products all at once. So the ability to just integrate one product at a time actually allows people to build a supplement routine for them in a much more user-friendly way. They're not overwhelmed. I know they try to, in America, really push the Vitality stack, but not everybody's used to spending $150 a month on supplements. I wish I was used to that because I spend 3 and 4 times that amount on supplements every month. but not everybody is wired that way. So it's easier to gently move people in. So I think it's a good thing, although I know you're all chomping at the bit to get it.
Yeah, we're definitely eager for the new products, but I have to chime in and say as well, like I've been doing this for 4 years, and for so long I was like, Axio, come on, Axio, come over. And then with the other ones, we were hanging on to that, but it's shifting that mindset. Obviously, we'll be so grateful when they come and we're eager, but imagine building our businesses right now on Protandim and just the skincare and building stable foundations and getting, up there in the ranks. And then when these all other products come in, when we're able to put them into our businesses, you can only imagine what it's going to do then. So that's just on a business side of it as well. So yeah, it's exciting what we can build now with Protandim and True Science. And then when the others come, we're all so eager for them. It'll be so good. Wonderful. Thanks for that. Is there anybody else that has any more questions? No?
Sorry, I've got one.
Awesome.
Just a quick question for you guys. So both of you have done, I guess you've got clients, so you work in the natural, medical world out of Protandim. Just a question, did you find that most of your customers signed up and ordered, or were you selling a lot of product out of hand a lot more in the beginning?
Yeah, I definitely sell a lot more out of hand. So you don't have to do this as distributors, but I actually stock product. And so when I introduce a customer to it, it's much easier for me to say, here's what I would suggest you take, and to have it right there and put it in their hand so they can walk out the door with it. And I do something that is probably not great business skill. I sell it for exactly what I paid for it. In other words, I make no profit on that at all at the time. So I sell Protandim in America. It's $41 plus tax and shipping. So if somebody were to have to order it in that moment and wait 3 or 4 days to get it, it would be $51 and change by the time they pay the tax and shipping. So I sell it for $50 just because I don't like to mess with the change. And I can spread the shipping out a little bit over multiple bottles. I do find that helpful. And then I very gently, if they've been on it for several months, then I will very gently say, would it be more convenient for you to just have it shipped to your home? Because maybe they're not going to continue seeing me every month or every week or every 2 weeks or whatever. So I'm incredibly gentle and low pressure about that. If it's convenient for them to pick it up at the office, that's fine. And because what's more important is that they're just taking the product. It's less important for me to develop a base of preferred customers or distributors, and I'm very careful about trying to introduce it as a distributor to someone. It's mostly customers, and then I do have some of my people will sign up, but that's how I introduce it. Would it be more convenient for you? Not, boy, it would really help my business if you would sign up. Would it be more convenient for you to enroll and have it shipped directly to your home? And I have many people at a certain point that is more convenient for them. And then I will say, if you're a healthcare professional, it's a little bit of a conflict of interest to enroll somebody as a distributor, but also you develop, at least the way I work, I'm with patients often for an hour. So we develop a genuine relationship. And at some point, if I know enough about them and I say, gee, you have these other aspects of your life, there is a business component to that. Would that make any sense for you? And just ask questions. But when I do it in my practice, it has a much, much, much gentler quality to it than I might have if I were talking to a prospect outside of my business and saying, hey, Fred, I've been involved with this company that has amazing products and a good business model. Do you want to take a look? I would be that direct with Fred, but I wouldn't be that direct with any patient that I have. So if it's convenient for you to have it, or I know some people say, like I remember one of the Pro 10 saying, they keep product on hand and copies of the proven plan. So when someone does enroll as a distributor, they give them a bottle of Protandim right then and there, a copy of the proven plan right there. Okay, when yours comes in, then give this back. But that way they can get started on product immediately. So there is some instant gratification there.
Yeah, I'll give just a brief summary of how I do it. Michael has a larger clientele than I do, and he sees people more regularly. Some of my people come just not as frequently. But what I found is I got this tip from a chiropractor that was doing it also out of her chiropractic business, was once I show the ABC video, and we've had this conversation either over doing the foot baths, reflexology, or doing the colonic, and they're talking to me of all these inflammatory issues they have going on in their body, and I'm saying, well, if I would show you an investigative report about getting to the root of these issues, would you be interested? Well, yeah. So they watch that. If they're intrigued, if they're like, yeah, I want to start on this, like Michael, it's a good thing to send people home, not to make them wait 5 days for the product. So if they will sign up, if it's, like I say, I do the same question, would it be convenient for you to have it delivered at your home? Well, yeah, because I don't plan on coming back to see you, or they may live far away. I get people driving 2 hours to come for colon therapy because I'm the only one in quite a radius that does it. And so I have my extra bottles that instead of getting the sample little, they do have sample packs. I keep my recycled bottles, and I will take out of my personal stash and put 5 pills in. You know, I put gloves on, or I do it very hygienically and put it in a bottle. If they will sign up right now for product, and I will give them a sample of the Axio. I will let them put the skin cream on their hands and experience that. Sometimes they'll get more than just the Nerf 2. But having that sample to walk out of my office with something in hand, and I have already secured their order to get that product and possibly others, that's a win-win for all of us. Because as Michael said, we're not making money just selling out of our store as it would be. But the golden way is to get them as customers. But again, Michael and I are not going to have that strong business charge ahead mentality. We are at our core caregivers and health and wellness people that we do this business, yes, as well. But we don't want our clients, his patients, to feel pressure that they can't come back for these services that we give without getting a sales pitch. You know what I mean? So we're both careful about that. Hope that helps. That's just another idea.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. I was just gonna say, yeah, and us on the other side, not being practitioners, like I love having a bottle in my handbag. First old person America handbag over here all the time, because that same, you know, when if you run into somebody and they're ready to go, it's so good to be able to give that to them, and then later on call them, get their details, or get them and then enroll them onto subscription later. But at least they can get started, then you can swap bottles once their order comes in. That's just so handy. So I know we're getting close to, we've been on for 50 minutes, so I'm sure everybody's getting ready for bed now over here, and you guys are getting ready to start your day over there. But any last questions before we end it? Awesome. Going twice? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much once again, Linda and Michael. We really appreciate you guys hopping on and sharing your knowledge and inspiring us all the way across the oceans. And we'll have to do it again. We'd love to have you guys on again down the road. So big thank you from all of us. I'm going to stop the recording now, and thank you for everybody jumping on tonight as well. And I hope everybody has an awesome night and a good sleep, and you guys have a really, really good day. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.